I've built online education businesses of all shapes and sizes, and I now believe that there is a magic number to aim for, an ideal size, if you like, for an online education business. And that number is 1 million in net profit. Now, 1 million in operating profit is the sweet spot where, for most people, most of the time, you get the ideal combination of both monetary profit and lifestyle freedom that allows you to live an incredible life right now and not grind it out for years with nothing to show for it but a giant ball of stress and a receding hairline. But how do you build a business like this? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 profit levers that I used to build a $1 million profit business for myself, not once, but twice, and the very specific order that you need to pull these levers in order to get to that magic number. So let's get to it. In case you don't know me, my name's Olly Richards. I'm the founder of Story Learning. It's a multi-million-dollar language education company. I'm an author with millions of books sold and also a mentor and advisor in other online education businesses. So what's the deal with this $1 million profit number anyway? Well, look, there are particular curses that come with businesses that are either too big or too small. When you're too small, you don't have the support of a team and you end up doing everything yourself. So there's no freedom and you hit a hard ceiling that you can't grow past. You've basically got a well-paid job. But on the flip side, you've got the people chasing 10 million in revenue, usually because of nothing but plain ego. They end up with 40 staff, endless meetings, spreadsheets for breakfast. And after all that work, they tend not to keep a great deal of that money in profit anyway, because your margins shrink fast when you chase that kind of growth. However, there is a middle path where I see the best online businesses grow to, and that is around about $2 to $3 million in revenue and $1 to $2 million in profit. And thanks to the magic of online media and advertising, you can get to that level with a relatively small team and minimum fuss if you build it right and pull the 5 profit levers that I'm going to show you. Now, for context, I've done this twice now myself. I started life as an English teacher and I built Story Learning to millions in revenue and profit, working only 6 days a month. Then a couple of years ago, I stepped back from Story Learning and I built this business right here to 7 figures in profit. The first time around, it took me 7 or 8 years to get there. The second time, well, it only took me 2 years. Same person, wildly different result. The difference was, second time round, well, I knew what I was doing. So let's talk about these 5 profit levers. The first lever is positioning. Now, if you get positioning wrong, everything else is difficult. Most businesses are far too vague in what they're trying to do. They try to help everyone with everything and they never explain why they're any better than any of the other options out there. This might have worked 10, 15 years ago when the internet was new, but not anymore. There's too much competition. The easiest way to win is to stand for something specific and prove that your method works. You need a defined group of people and a unique skill set, ideally with a method that is named, and proof that you can do all of that. Results, evidence. At Story Learning, for example, we teach languages through stories. It's very specific. We focused on self-studiers who like reading. That's the target group. And then the method is story-based learning. The proof is over a decade of results, millions of books sold, hundreds of thousands of subscribers on our YouTube channel. It's all very unique, narrow, and specific, and it's backed up. Now, the benefit of having a named method within all of this is that it's what allows other people to deliver your product for you later. And this is your exit from the day-to-day. No method, no system, no exit for you. When I'm mentoring business owners, one of the most common things that I find myself doing is taking a really cold, hard look at their positioning. If it's not strong enough, if it's not compelling enough, if it's not unique enough, we start there and rebuild it from the ground up. And this is so important because once you nail your positioning, it makes literally everything else more effective. Your sales copy, your emails, your videos, all of it. Positioning is foundational. The second lever is audience. Now, if I had to pick the single most valuable thing that you can invest in as an online educator, it's this, your audience. Your audience is the pool of people who follow you, who know you, like you, trust you, who actually want to hear from you. You can build audience organically with YouTube, podcasts, or other long-form content, or you can acquire leads through paid ads. Both paths work. In fact, combining them is the best thing of all. But wherever those people come from, it is usually email where you really build that relationship. That's where the trust grows. Now, in today's online economy, with AI intruding on everything, the single best way to build audience is with a personal brand. Everyone will say that personal brands don't scale, and that can be true and can be a problem if you're trying to build the next Amazon. But we are not doing that. We're trying to create an unfair advantage for our small businesses. Look at YouTubers like Ali Abdaal, millions of subscribers, hugely profitable business. That's the leverage that a personal brand can give you, and you can replicate that at that level or at a much smaller level as well. What you do is you pick one channel, long form, searchable, evergreen. So this is YouTube or podcasts typically, and then you become world class at that. Not just good, world class. There is something of a bell curve in online media where all of the attention goes to the people at the far end who have mastered it and know how to game the algorithm to get all the attention. 90% of people get nothing. 10% of people get everything. But the only way to get there is by being exceptional yourself. And the only way to be exceptional is to focus on one thing. This can take 2 to 3 years to really master, and it might feel like 10 years, but there are no shortcuts here. Once you've mastered your media channel, then you have an asset that is going to compound forever and build you an incredibly strong audience. Most people treat audience building is something they do in their spare time, a bit of hosting here and there, a video when they feel like it. But the single biggest shift you can make for yourself is start to ask, how do I become world class at this channel? This question changes everything. You start studying what works. You get obsessive about quality. You stop dabbling and start committing. And that's when the growth becomes inevitable. The third lever is revenue. Now, most educators think about revenue as volume, more products, more customers, more launches, but that's the hard way. Powerful revenue is about a customer journey. It's a pathway with increasingly higher priced offers designed for one specific type of person. And this is where all that positioning work that we talked about earlier pays off. See, when you've got a defined audience, a unique method, and proof that it works, you can charge premium prices. You're not competing on price anymore like everyone else. You're offering the best solution for a specific problem. But you don't just sell one thing at one price. You create a journey. You have step 1, step 2, step 3, where each stage solves the problem in a more comprehensive way and costs more money. This is customer lifetime value. Every customer becomes worth more over time, and this creates efficiency in the business, which means the business can do more with less. You can run a simple business and you can keep the team small. You can keep your costs down. And this is vital because if you want to build this business that does $1 million in profit, you need a lean operation. So don't build a catalog of random products. Build a pathway for your ideal customer avatar. And here's the part that most people get backwards. It is best to start with high ticket. Now, this can feel counterintuitive. Surely you start with your cheap, lower products and work up from there, right? But no, here's why. Positioning yourself as exclusive attracts everyone, including less advanced people who aspire to get there one day. But if you start the other way around and position yourself as for everyone, by starting with the cheap, easy products, that repels the serious buyers. They don't want beginner stuff. High ticket is simply easier. You need fewer customers to hit big numbers. Less volume, less complexity. And I'll give you an example of how this works in practice. In my business brand, the journey looks a little bit like this. It's for online educators doing at least 100,000 in revenue. So it's a very specific niche avatar. And then the customer journey looks like digital workshops at the entry level, which showcase how I teach. Then I have Elevate, which is my structured program for scaling. And then at the high end, my one-to-one mentorship. But I started the business with one-to-one. Right at the high end. And that's how I got to hit 7 figures really quickly. One avatar, one really clear pathway, and a tiny team. My whole business is just a handful of contractors. And that creates maximum profitability. At Story Learning, my language business, we achieve lifetime value a little bit differently. We have courses for different levels. So level 1, level 2, level 3 as you progress in a language. So customers keep coming back as they progress. And this is repeat purchases built into the model. But we also have a higher ticket coaching option for people that want more support to get there faster. So you've got almost 2 separate paths to lifetime value within the business. You've got horizontal, people just buying the next level all the time. And then you've got vertical, with people paying more for higher levels of support. So different businesses, but the same principle. It's one clear audience, one simple journey, multiple ways to keep serving them. And that's what makes both businesses so efficient and profitable. The challenge for established businesses, it is very difficult to step back and think about restructuring your entire business portfolio. It's difficult to do that when you're so close to it. So if you think you might benefit from some help thinking through this and doing this kind of foundational work, you might like to join my Elevate program, because that's exactly what I help you with in there. You'll find a link in the description. The fourth lever is team. And this is where most educators really sabotage themselves. They think, I need to hire smart people to come and figure this out for me. No. This is what venture-backed startups do. They throw money, other people's money, at the problem, and that they hope the talent will solve their problems. But we don't have that luxury. And frankly, we don't want it either. Here's the rule. First, whatever business problem you've got, whatever growth challenge you have, you figure out how to crack the code yourself first. This is your responsibility as the business owner. You learn what products actually sell. You figure out what content resonates with your audience. You test email campaigns. You experiment with offers. You do each bit of the work yourself, probably badly, until you understand what moves the needle. Then you hire someone to come in and run the system that you have built. Not to figure it out, not to tell you what to do, but to execute on what you've already made. And this is how you keep your brand magic. When I built a story learning YouTube channel, I started from zero. I did everything myself: ideation, scripts, filming, editing. I was genuinely bad at most of it. I could have skipped all of that. I could have gone and hired an expensive agency to make the channel for me, but I would have ended up with a generic result. Polished, yes, but soulless, like every other faceless brand channel. Instead, I took responsibility for myself. I learned what worked. I built a system. I scaled the channel to hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then once I'd done that, then I brought in a team to come and run it for me. And now my team handles everything. And my weekly involvement in my large story learning YouTube channel is about 20 minutes to simply read a script and film the video. That's the system at work. But the channel still feels like mine because I've built the foundation. Now, the key to doing this is to hire from within your audience. The temptation is to go and find A players, people with impressive backgrounds and big experience, but this often backfires. They come with their own ideas, high salary expectations, a way of working that doesn't fit your culture. A players can really distort your business, and suddenly it doesn't feel like yours anymore. It can put all kinds of pressure on you and drag you away from your center of gravity. Instead, you want to hire people who already follow you, who love what you do. They get the brand. They don't need managing in the same way as ambitious A players. And these people will stay years sometimes, which means your staff turnover stays low, the ethos stays intact, and you end up with a team that feels like family, not a corporate department. And this is what enables you to keep the team small. For a business doing $1 million in profit, we're looking for between 8 to 12 people maximum. What you're looking for is a small number of really smart people who take ownership, who don't need to be micromanaged, who run their area like it's their own business. Big teams with bloat will kill profit, and it's one of the most common problems I see in seven-figure businesses. So stay lean, protect the margins, and that's how you get to that $1 million in profit. And the fifth and final lever is systems. And this is what gets you to the ability to make a lot of money with relatively little work. But you only make this your focus once the business has hit 1 to 2 million in revenue. Now, at this point, most people think it's time to scale, push to 10 million, hire more, launch more, grow. That's one path, but it's not the only path. And for most educators, it's not the right one. The smarter move is to pause and say, right, we've got a great business here doing millions in revenue. What we're going to do is make this business at this size more profitable. And we're going to net $1 million in profit, and we're going to do it with incredible systems. That's a completely different game, and it's far more enjoyable to play. So how do you think about systems? Well, don't think about automation in the abstract, the way that everyone just talks about AI these days. That's too vague. Instead, ask yourself one question. How does the money happen in this business? What's the path from stranger to customer? What needs to happen at each stage for money to hit your bank account? Where do things get stuck? Where does unnecessary manual work or undocumented processes slow things down? Where does human error creep in? Your job is to build systems that make this path as repeatable and reliable as possible, as little friction as possible in all of these business revenue systems. So we're talking about email automations that fire in intelligent places, onboarding that removes human elements in the process, support that handles things easily, quickly, without friction, payment systems that trigger other automations. You're not trying to disappear from the business. You're trying to make the core business systems run smoothly, whether you are there or not. But there is a line that you should not cross, and that is marketing. As the founder and the face of the business, you should never outsource your marketing. This is where your personal brand lives. It's your voice, it's your energy, your point of view. It's what made people care about your business in the first place when you first got started, and it's why people still care today. Over time, this personality becomes your biggest competitive advantage. Everyone else kind of blends together into just genericness, but you can stay distinctive only if you keep showing up as you. I've watched so many legitimately successful businesses die because the founder decided to hand off their content to ghostwriters. The videos lost energy, the emails became bland, people stopped paying attention, but the costs didn't go down. In fact, it cost more. I have made that mistake myself in the past. I've hired people to write emails for me in other businesses, and it took a little too long before I realized that Olly didn't sound like Olly anymore, and it just felt wrong. It felt wrong for me, and I know that the audience felt it as well because response started to drop. This happens to so many entrepreneurs who build big businesses. You try to scale, you try to keep scaling, you drift from your roots, and you end up hating the thing that you built. Marketing, content is the one thing that keeps you unique. Hand it off, and the soul walks out the door with it. At Story Learning, I don't work operationally anymore in the business, but I stay at the helm of marketing. I record the videos, I do the podcast, I market my books. That's the thing that keeps us unique in the market. And after all of these years, 13 years now, I'm pretty good at it. So it's relatively easy for me to do compared to trying to bring other people in. So overall, we don't want to build this big org chart with visionary integrator and department heads. What we're looking to do is build a small team of capable people who take ownership. And you as the founder, stay close to them. Keep the org chart flat. This is the goal. So the 5 profit levers we've seen are positioning, audience, revenue, team, and systems. And by following this is how you scale by rhythm, not by grind. You're not hustling your way to burnout. You're building something sustainable based on your expertise, your voice, your life. And for most educators who actually enjoy what they do, this is the way to build a business that you actually love. The big trap to watch out for is complexity. Adding complexity before you've earned the right to do it. If you want to know exactly how to avoid this complexity and to build a 7-figure business while keeping things simple, then watch this video over here, which will tell you exactly how to do that.